Currently, we're in Dodge City, Kansas, and I'm walking in front of Will Rhodes Elementary School. This is a fairly small school. I don't even think a couple hundred kids, if that, come to this elementary school. But in the mid-late 1980s, one little girl did go to this very school. Her name was Rossy Cox. And this is where she would come for recess, come for lunch, and she would play with her friends on this very playground right here. This is the Trinity Nursing Home, and this place, 35 years ago, Irma Cox, Rossy's mother, used to work at this facility as an RN. And oftentimes she would bring her daughter here to accompany her at work, for her to kind of get some adult experience in the work field. She almost became somewhat of the mascot of this place. The residents would often find joy in just, seeing a little kid just rambunctious coming to this place. She would often help pass out lunch or dinner trays, run little errands within the facility for some of the residents here. And she would walk up and down the hallways of this place, helping the facility with people needing to go certain places. She would wheel their wheelchairs up and down the hallways right here. An avid reader, a bright little girl, a daughter that Danny Cox said any grown man would be proud to have and call his little girl. And in Dodge City, heinous crimes don't occur hardly, if ever. Dodge City is not a small city. I want to say about 30,000 some odd people call this place home. But some very, very disgusting crimes have been committed in this place. Enter one 15-year-old Gary Deal. Gary Deal is from Dodge City, and he's just about 15 years old when he starts his life of crime here in Dodge City. And the police, they know him quite well. He's a thief, and he likes to steal things that are not his. He likes to break into people's homes. And by the time he turned 18, he's already a convicted felon. He has 2 felony theft cases out of Dodge City and a misdemeanor. And I'm assuming some bleeding heart judge decides that, instead of sending this guy to prison, they're going to want to give him some kind of a mental evaluation. So they send him to the Lamont State Mental Hospital. And when he's there, him and a 17-year-old kid, they decide that they don't want to stay at this mental hospital. So they would break out of the facility, steal a pickup truck out of the parking lot, and they go on a cruise, a trip. And they would drive that truck until it ran out of gas. They would steal another car and another car and another car. And they made it all the way out west, about 500 miles to Colorado, before a police officer seen them, got a description on the radio and pulled them over. They wouldn't go down without a fight, though. And in the process, they hit a vehicle before they were eventually captured and returned to that state hospital. Now, in this matter, you would think, okay, so this kid already has 2 felonies, and he's at a state mental hospital, and he breaks out of the facility and steals 4 cars, rams into a car. He could have killed somebody out there. This guy has no disregard for anybody's safety at all. So my guess is, okay, he's young, but you're giving him plenty of chances. Maybe it's time for him to cool his heels for about 18 months in a minimum security prison out here in Kansas. But no, he completes his, air quotes here, he completes his treatment, and then he's released out here to Dodge City, Kansas. On the night of May 15th, 1989, 19-year-old Gary Deal is over at some kind of a club here in town, and he's drinking beer all day, all afternoon, all evening, all night. Finally, it's closing time, and he starts to stumble home. Now, he lives in the same neighborhood where the Cox family lives. They know of the kid. They don't know him that well. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and he sees the Cox home, and he decides that he wants to break into the home because he's going to take Rossy somewhere and rape her. So he goes up to the bedroom window where she's sleeping and takes out the screen. And as she's sleeping, he takes a tire iron and he whacks her upside the head, knocking her out cold. Then he carries her body maybe about not even 1,000 feet from the family home. And he takes her to a drainage ditch. And she starts to come to. So he decides then and there that he's going to take basically a piece of fence post and beat her to death. And after he's done, he stumbles off home, walks to his home, and goes to sleep. About 5:30 a.m., one of her parents goes to wake her up for school, and she's not in her bed. They see that the screen and the window is open, and they call the police. The police come, and they start walking up and down the neighborhood there. Only 45 minutes after they call the police, Danny finds his daughter's body beat to a bloody pulp in that drainage ditch. She had already been dead for quite some time now. Now, just that evening previous, it had rained here in Dodge City. And when the police and the father, they're looking at the ground and they can see mud tracks. And the tracks would lead right up to where Gary Deal lived. So they knock on the door and he comes out, and they're asking him if he knows anything about what happened down the block. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And they end up taking him to the station. And within only a matter of a few hours, he admitted to what he did. He even showed them where the murder weapons were, covered in her blood. And also at the scene of the crime, his handprint he left, unbeknownst to him. So they arrest him. They charge him with aggravated burglary, aggravated kidnapping, and first-degree murder. They're talking to him in the interrogation room, and they said, "Why'd you kill this little girl?" And he said, "I didn't like her." But the prosecution, they don't feel that that's the motive. They believe the motive was sexual in nature, even though in the autopsy report, there was no signs of any kind of sexual assault. So Gary Deal ends up taking a plea bargain, and he pleads to the charges. And in exchange, instead of him dying, guaranteeing to die in prison, he gets a chance for parole. Now, that chance for parole came and went. He was denied. And the next time he's up for parole, is 2029. So he's been in prison now well over 35 years. Now, this is Rossy Cox' final resting place. Now, there's also her name right here. She's buried next to her sister, perhaps, who died in a car accident. Now, Irma, Rossy's mom, she just recently died this past summer, and I don't see a marker here. So I'm wondering if she moved her daughter next to her sister, and then possibly she took her daughter's place. I do not know. I'm only guessing because I don't see a marker for Irma Cox. But the father, Danny, he's buried in the cemetery a little bit of away from here. So I'm assuming possibly they had, separated. But I believe in the newspaper that Gary Deal had received 2 consecutive life sentences, but in exchange for taking the deal, he was promised that he'd have a chance at parole. And so far, he has been denied. And I suspect that he will never, ever, ever get out of prison. He'll be there forever. And I was looking up online, some prison websites, they'll put up the, the disciplinary infractions that a inmate has incurred, and he's incurred quite a bit. So I don't see this guy getting out ever. Hopefully not anyways. So rest in peace to the Cox family. Just a terrible story. A sadistic monster and a creep and a ped preying on an innocent 10-year-old. Okay, I'm out of here. There's another story over yonder. I'm going to go do really, really quickly. Catch up with you in the next video. Peace out.